Louis. My name is Angela Hochman. Thank you so much for tuning in to STL TV, where you get to experience St. Louis. I am absolutely delighted to welcome our guest today. I snagged Fellana Randall, okay? Not only is she an author, she is a licensed marriage and family therapist. Fellana, hi.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
This is awesome. This is kind of a whirlwind time for you. Tell me a little bit about your background.
So I am a licensed marriage and family therapist, like you said, an LMFT for short, a relationship therapist, and I'm also the founder of Randall Obsidian Psychotherapy Services in Oakland, California.
Okay, so you're not busy at all. Wow, and your latest venture, I'm gonna call you an author because you are. Talk about this beautiful book, Becoming the Female Hunter.
Well, you know, I'm actually really excited to tell you about the book because it felt like a really important thing, especially for the times that we're in.
Sure.
The first chapter, I try to focus on, the first chapter is actually what I would call the meat of the book. It's the most significant part of the book, where I would call it relationship preparation. Self-growth and healing. What do you need to do? How do we need to hold the mirror to figure out what's happening for you in order to, you know, better understand what may be some patterns that you may not be aware of that are happening in your love and dating relationships.
Yeah, so I want to get into the title because it's like, whoa, in your face, Becoming the Female Hunter. How and why did you title it this way?
Well, so the female hunter, I actually use the comparison of the female hunter, the lioness, to modern women because there are just so many clear overlaps or parallels, at least for me, at least the way I see it. If you watch a lioness, she's so graceful the way she moves, and she can be actually hypnotic in watching her move. Similar to modern women, but then also lionesses are also empowered to hunt, protect, provide for the pride. Similar to modern women, right? They can be strong and confident while they can also be graceful and vulnerable.
Yes. So this book is not simply go out and find my partner for life. It is like, let's do the work on the inside.
Absolutely not, because the thing about it is that, you know, if you're coming from a place of insecurity, do you want to attract a partner at that place, at that, you know, healthy connectedness level?
Yeah, sure. So I want to back up just a bit. So Fellana, how did your own journey inspire this book?
Well, you know, it was interesting because when I first started the book was going to be, you know, all this information that I was excited to share. And then as I was writing it, some things happened. If I'm being honest, chapter 1 was pretty triggering for me also. You know, there's always work to do for any of us. And so chapter 1 is really like, ooh, a mirror, like, oh, okay. So those are the raw spots that are still there. Let's really focus on that. And so that triggered this other level of spiritual awakening that actually offered this extra level to the book that I think wouldn't have happened had I not experienced that, and I hadn't been able to look at myself in certain ways.
Whoa. So you're setting out to write this book to change the way people think and interact, and they can shape their future. In the meantime, you're doing your own work.
Absolutely. I mean, but the work never stops, right? I mean, ideally, the work never stops.
Oh, yeah. It is. Yeah, it's never ending. Can I ask maybe something that surprised you during this writing journey?
You know, the thing that surprised me, okay, so let me say the thing that surprised me is actually the thing that it actually offered me reassurance. So there's this so the second chapter is called The Male Psyche. And as you can imagine, I got, you know, some very interesting feedback from people that I know about that.
Everybody's got something to say.
Everyone has something to say. And especially, you might be surprised, the men. The men had a lot to say, like, you know, who do you think you are as a woman to write about men? And actually, you know, I wanted to be responsible. This is always going to be my plan. But as I was writing it, when I finished that chapter, I shared it with men in my life that I respect and I admire because I wanted to get their feedback. Am I off base with these things? Did I say anything wrong? What do you think about this? And actually, they were actually quite confirming. So that felt reassuring. And if anything, I was bracing myself for the criticism that I just thought I would inevitably get. And so it actually ended up being surprising that they were so reassuring.
Oh, that is amazing. And I love that you typed into that male psyche. I think it can be forgotten. And it's like, well, if you want to attract, you need to understand the other person.
Absolutely. I think it's crucial to understand male or masculine psyche. Like, obviously, this book is focused on, you know, those that identify as women seeking partnership with a man. But I think it's crucial to understand if you're looking for a man, because how can you partner with someone if you don't understand what they need and the way they want to feel in love, in addition to the way you want to feel in love?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I love the part when you mentioned, you said appreciate the security of togetherness, but also the freedom of separation. Talk a bit about that.
Well, you know, in modern relationships, we put a lot of pressure on one another. We put a lot of pressure on our partners to be, you know, our spiritual guides, our teachers, our best friends, our, you know, lovers. We just put a lot of pressure on relationships. And so sometimes it's often the case, it's usually the case that we have to focus on ourselves to make ourselves whole so that we can attract partners that are also whole.
Yeah, and it's really empowering, among many other words, to read sentences like that, because it's like, yeah, you've got to be so okay with yourself, and then you will be your best self out in the world and attract who you're wanting to attract. And you talked about the quality of a relationship really determining the quality of your life, both in work and in day-to-day life. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, you know, if we don't feel good in our home lives with our partners, then how does that ground us to be able to go out into the world and to manage all of the stressors that life has to offer, all of the unknowns and uncertainty that each day has to offer? And so it's important to have that secure base so that you can feel your most confident. But again, you have to rely on yourself in order to have that.
Yeah, and I think these books, I mean, dare I say it's a workbook, because you read it and you're like, oh wow, I didn't know that. But you also offer some activities to do. 2 of them I've done. So daily gifts. Can you elaborate just a bit on that?
So again, modern women, we are stretched so paper thin. Yes. The cape, the crown, it's heavy, all of the roles that we have to wear. And so it's important to make sure that we are doing what's necessary for ourselves so that we can be those emotional anchors for the people around us that are expecting us to be that. And so the daily gifts, it doesn't have to be a monetary thing. Maybe you spend money on it, maybe you don't, but really it's just a way to pour love into yourself very intentionally each day, 30 minutes, an hour. And it seems like such a simple thing, but for each of us, it'll be interesting to see. I challenge people to do that. You know, what would it be like to focus on yourself for 30 to 60 minutes each day?
And it is an absolute challenge if you are busy, if you are stretched very thin, like you said, and we so are. But it could be something as simple as take a bath, which is like my ritual every day. I'm like, just give me, even if I have 10 minutes to myself, I'm gonna own every second of that.
Absolutely.
And then another activity, which I literally did on the back of my paper, talk about the 3 ways to slay every day.
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay,
so fun.
Just to give so 3 ways I slay every day is basically to focus on what are character traits that you feel most proud about in yourself. What are the accomplishments that you've achieved that you feel most proud of or you feel most confident about? And what are the last one is escaping me.
The last one are 3 accomplishments, I think.
Accomplishments, personality traits. Right, accomplishments, personality traits, and
your favorite features, I think.
Your favorite physical features.
I was like, you only get to write 3?
You only get to write 3.
Just kidding.
But it's interesting because, as you're doing that, it can be interesting to see which ones do you gravitate more towards. Like, which ones do you just like, I can just...
And those will change daily. Because every day I'm like, I'm having a great hair day. Other days I'm like, oh no, who let me out of the house, So I am blown away to know that this is your first book. Oh my gosh. Is there something else in the future? Perhaps a second book?
Well, I am working on the second book. It's called, at least right now, the working title is Harnessing Your Yoni Power. Ooh. And it's going to be more of an extension and going deeper into the 4th chapter where I talk about deepening intimacy and inspiring devotion.
Okay, awesome. Where can people find this lovely book?
It is on Amazon and Kindle, and soon it will be on Audible.
Okay, wow. Just in time for the holidays. You can check everything out on her website. Seriously, follow her on Instagram. Your social posts, it feels like we're hanging out with you, Fellana. And I think that just makes you so human. I cannot wait to see where the future takes you. Sky is the limit, my friend. Thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy day. This book is a sort of a run, don't walk situation. You might want to go grab these. And again, it's for everyone. It's for you to do the work, it's for you to learn about others. You get to pave the way for your life, essentially. And this book should be in your toolbox. That's gonna do it, my friend. Thank you so much for sitting down with me.
Thank you for having me.
All right, keep it locked right here on STL TV, where you get to experience St. Louis. We will see you next time.